Hi everyone and welcome to my channel, Curly and Yarny. My name is Milena and today I want to do a recap with you. So a recap of my first half semester of textile school. Let's get started. So this fall I have just started a program called Technique des métiers d'art en construction textile given by le Cégep de Limoilou in collaboration with la Maison des métiers d'art de Québec. So many French words because my program is in French, but it is a technical program in which I learn everything there is to know about textile. No, not everything because that would be too much, but I learned many things about textile. So I've already made a video in which I recapped my first week of school, so I'm going to link it in the description down below if ever you wanted to check it out. For today, I want to focus on the other 6 weeks of school, so I want to focus on what I've done so far in this program. So right now we have a fall break, so we have 1 week when we don't have classes. We do have a few homeworks, but mostly it's time for us to relax and get ready for the other half of the semester. So at the moment I am attending 4 classes which are sewing, knitting machine, one that is more like theory, and then like intro to the profession of being a textile artist, and the last one is weaving. But for this video I really wanted to start by going over what I did in my sewing class. So let's get started. So my sewing class is probably one of my favorite class. I'm really enjoying it. I'm learning so much from this class. So during the first few weeks, we learned different techniques to make different effects in sewing. So many decorative effects. There's many techniques, I don't even know the name in English. If you want to make, for example, like some skirt that would have some little folds in them, we saw different ways to do them. We also learned how to do like puffy sleeves on dresses, for example, and all of this because we eventually we also learned to do some embroidery with a normal sewing machine, so that was very fun. And all of those things we've made was to lead to be able to draw patterns and sew stuff out of those patterns. So by the end of those first weeks we were asked to draw a pattern for a cushion cover. And so that took almost 1 class, and then the class after we had to actually sew this cushion cover. So we had some requirements, so we needed to have at least 5 different pieces of cloth on the top of it. We also had to add a zipper, so I learned how to sew a zipper, and we also had to add one of the different techniques we have learned through the class. So as you might guess, my cushion is right here. So let me show it to you. And I am very proud of my cushion. It is full of mistakes, but I'm very happy on how it turned out. So here it is. These are the fabrics that I chose. So if you follow me on Instagram, you might have participated in my voting poll where I couldn't decide which fabric I wanted to use for this one. And the votes were pretty 50-50. So I'm going to show you the 2 options I had. So I decided to go with the option number 1. So the one with like the more like brown fabric. And the only reason for this is because there was way more fabric of those 2 materials than there were in the other fabrics I had chosen. So if ever I messed up, I had some wiggle space to start over, but thankfully I did not mess up so much. So the fabric I had was enough. I didn't have to recut anything, although I had to redo some of my seams, but that's another story. So here's the cushion. So I have my 5 pieces, and in this part here I have added my decorative technique, which makes some kind of like honeycombs. I'm not sure of the English word for this. In French we call them alvéoles, and I thought it was a very pretty technique. I thought it would suit well for a cushion. I also thought it would be easy to make and it wasn't so hard to make, but it was hard to sew the other parts, assemble the other parts close to it, because it like shrank. Like the way it's made, kind of wanted the fabric to get a bit smaller. So I had a bit of a challenge sewing that all of them together afterwards. But the part I am the most proud of is this part, this zipper. So zippers have always intimidated me, and now I'm glad that I was able to install one, but I went the lazy way. So we could have used like traditional zippers, which is kind of complicated to put on, and I'm the only one in the class who went for the lazy way, which is to take an invisible zipper, so only 2 seams, and I was enough. But it's fine. I was okay with going the lazy way. At the end, we only needed to have a zipper, so there it is. And later on, I'm going to practice sewing harder zippers, but for now, that was enough for me. And so, whoops. And so here we have my cushion. So I still need to hand it in. So it is not I cannot put it on my couch yet, but as soon as it's graded, it's going back to my home. So I just got off the phone with my sewing teacher, and she actually said that if I get 500 likes on this video, she's going to give me an A. So you know what you have to do now. Now let's move on to my knitting machine class. So right off the bat, this class wasn't really my favorite one because I found it very challenging. Not the class itself, but really the machine. I found it very challenging. So I felt it was very heartbreaking. So if ever I were to do like one little mistake, I forgot to do something or to do one adjustment, then all of my work would fall down and I would have to start all over again. And if I compare it to weaving, well, then if I do a mistake in weaving, I just have to unweave. And that's as simple as that. So that I found very challenging at first. I thought that the machine was kind of needy, and it seems to me was kind of fragile with all of the little needles. But over the course of 7 weeks, I started to really get acquainted with the machine, and now I'm more comfortable with it, and I'm starting to really enjoy myself. I see the million possibilities there is to it, and this really talks to me and inspires me, but I still need some more practice on this machine. So the way that my knitting class is structured, we're actually going to see different techniques throughout the year, and the first 5 weeks were dedicated to the discovery of jersey. So we learn different techniques. We learn how to do nice finishing, like with nice little hem. We also learn how to do like the sewing of different parts, and all those different techniques led us to knit a big project. So this project was actually a shoe bag, so like a little bag to transport shoes in it. However, I cannot present you this bag with me today. I do not have it with me, and I'm now entering a most serious part of this video. So this bag was sadly robbed from me. So we have a suspect. So the suspect is a 3-year-old boy. He goes by the name of Elliot. He has blonde hair, brown eye. He's about 1 meter high, and his motive for the robbery was I needed a bag in order to store my cars. If you have any information, if you see anything suspicious, please let me know. We are on high alert about this robbery, and really any hint can help us. Thankfully, I was able to take some pictures of the bag, so we can see a bit of the techniques we learned throughout the bag. So of course, the normal jersey for the body of the bag, but we also see the hem on top. And so this was all knitted in the same part. So we learned to do a hem at the beginning of the project, but also at the end of the project. We also learned how to do the little like the cord, like the knitted cord, in order to be able to close the bag, and also those pompons. So if you've seen one of my live video, I talk about this is the first ever craft I have done in my life with my grandma. She taught me how to do pompons when I was, I don't know, like 7 or 8 years old, and I just fell in love with the process so much that I wore it at school in the most unfashionable way possible. So it was fun for me to actually go revisit my first love for fiber crafts with those pompons. So I'm actually going to pause the video right here because there's actually 2 other things I wanted to tell you about in this video. So first of all, during this break of school, I had the chance to go back and see my parents, which means 2 things. First of all, it means that I got the chance to eat a lot of very good food, but it also meant that I was able to bring my counterbalance loom back with me. So now I have all of my looms here inside of the apartment. However, the room in which I record my videos is like my studio, and in this room it wasn't really meant to receive this big loom inside of it, so I had to do quite a bit of changes in the room in order to be able to have it fit here. And this means that the room changed quite a lot. I had already made a video in which I give you a tour of this space, and this video dates back to about a year ago. So I've made a second video in order to reflect on all the changes that I have made in the new space, well, in the old space, but like the new changes I've made in it. And this video is actually already up, but it's only available to my Ko-fi supporters. So this leads me to tell you a bit more about my Ko-fi page. So I have set up this page a few months ago in order to connect with people who would want to support my channel, and in exchange I provide some exclusive content such as this video. I've already made a few exclusive contents in which I share secrets. Also, on top of that, I often reveal what's going to happen on the channel in terms of videos to my Ko-fi members beforehand. So there's actually two ways to support me on Ko-fi. So you can either subscribe to the membership, or you can also just do a one-time donation, and the video about the tour of this place would be available to both kind of supporters. So this leads me to actually give out a very big thank you to everyone who have supported me, who are supporting me, or who will support me. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. This helps a lot. And you might have actually noticed that in this video and also in my previous video, I have now some new music. So thanks to all the donations I have received, I can now afford a subscription to Epidemic Sound, which is the platform that provides some copyright free music. And with this new music, I can now level up in my videos quite a lot. So now I have new music like this. And I also have access to some new sounds like this and this. So thank you again so much for all the support you're giving me. And now we're talking about the third class, which the name is kind of Intro to the Profession of Being a Textile Artist. So in this class, we're actually trying to develop different abilities to be better textile artists, basically. And this can take many shapes, but for the first few weeks, the teacher wanted us to learn a bit more about different artistic movements. So basically, she wanted us to learn a bit more about the history of art. And so we had to do research on one art movement, and we could focus on one artist of this movement in particular, or on one of the art pieces that were made during this movement. And I wanted my research to be textile based. It didn't have to be, but I wanted it to. So I started to look at different tapestries, and I thought, oh, I'm probably going to talk about like medieval tapestries. But then I saw some tapestries woven by Frida Hansen, a Norwegian artist that worked in the late 1800s and early 1900s, and I just was in love with her work. I thought it was so beautiful, so I decided to do my paper on her. Honestly, I don't remember the last time I had this much fun doing a research paper. So if you are also curious to learn a bit more about her, I will link one of my sources in the description of this video, so you can check it out. So now let's jump on to the last but not least, my weaving class. So for the first half of this semester, we were mainly focused on warping our looms, and also we were focused on exploring plain weave. So we explored it in different ways. We explored it in terms of different techniques. So we not only wove plain weave, but we also did some basket weave. We also wanted to explore different color combinations. So we had some classes about color theory. So we had to do different kind of color contrast with our weaving, and we also experienced with different fibers, which all of that led us to weave a Saori piece. And this for me was my first Saori piece. I also don't have it with me today because I left it at school, but I'm going back to school tomorrow, so I'll take a picture for you and you won't even notice it was gone while I was filming this video. And Saori weaving is not something I've done before, and I was a bit overwhelmed at the beginning. So I like things that are calculated, so I wasn't sure if I was comfortable to just kind of go with the flow. But I actually really enjoyed the process. So I decided to just let go and like enjoy the process, and it went actually by pretty quickly, and that was fun. Even though we're weaving Saori, and normally Saori would need to have more like a like really go with the flow, we still needed to have some educational content in it. So we had to have a theme, and we had to kind of try to express this theme inside of our piece. So my theme was a spice market, so I wanted to have a sari that would be woven mostly with warm colors, and I couldn't put smells inside of my piece, but I could put texture, so to remember all the different kind of spices we can find in the market. So I really played around with different kind of yarn that would give me some textures. So let me know what you think of my sari piece. I am not sure if I'm ever going to weave another sari in my life, but I really enjoyed the process. And so this is it for today's video. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed learning about my journey. If you want to learn more, maybe week to week what I'm doing, I'm posting a bit of content in my Instagram account, so feel free to follow me there to know a little bit more what's going on week to week. But I'll make sure to do some other recap video along the last half of the semester. Depending on the time I have, maybe I will do like one in the middle and one at the end, but maybe also only one at the end, depending on how busy I am. So thank you again for being there, and stay safe, and see you soon. Bye bye.